Hello and welcome to the Normally Online podcast where we discuss things happening on and offline. Recently, I've been sucked into the engagement bait Twitter algorithm, and part of that is seeing everyone post how the internet has affected their speech pattern or maybe tics they've picked up from watching too much online content. Do you guys have anything that you've picked up and maybe can't stop saying even when you're offline?
So the one I'm most ashamed about immediately right off the bat is Pog. It is
Yep.
one that started out ironically, as always, and then, sometimes at work, I'll bust out a very quiet Pog, and then someone just looks at me like, huh? That's the one I'm most ashamed of. There's a lot of Dutch ones that unfortunately, I don't think the audience is quite there for that one. A recent one, what he say fuck me for, from
Yep.
the infamous 50 Cent clip where I believe he just woke up and he's like, the internet said fuck 50. What do you say fuck me for?
I look at the computer say, Floyd said, fuck T.I., fuck Nelly, fuck 50. I'm like, what do you say fuck me for?
Which is, yeah, that's a good one.
I think that there should be some research into like the half-lives of these, because a lot of the times I'll like say something for a little bit and then like a couple of months go by and like we'll drop it. Like one that was there for a while was Red 40, but there was just this guy droning on. Instead of saying Red 40, he was like Red 21. Thank God it don't got that in it. You stupid. No, I'm not. It's the same dude saying this entire thing.
Thank God it don't got that in it, man. 21? You stupid. No, I'm not.
So for a while, I just be saying like, no, I'm not. And like, thank God it don't got that in it. That disappeared after like probably a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Maybe for you. I still drop it. No, I'm not.
So me too. And also I have no one but myself to blame for this. But in our D&D now Pathfinder group, I showed everyone the video. No one laughed, but I was laughing, and I just kept doing it because that's the basis of comedy is repetition or something.
You got to dig your heels in.
You got to dig your heels in. When people don't laugh, just keep doing it until they do.
Mm-hmm.
But now, everyone finally thinks it's funny months later.
Yeah.
And now, whenever someone rolls like a 21, they go 21, and I wish I had never introduced this to the group because it's starting to get annoying. And yeah.
My philosophy on if people don't think something is funny right away, it's not because it's not funny, it's just because they don't get it.
Yeah.
So that's why you got to keep repeating it. It's like you need to show them the light. You need to teach them the ways of humor, you know?
Yeah, I agree. And Aaron, how about you? Any others?
I think the biggest one, it has fallen off recently, but maybe the most dominant in my life was the Hemomancer.
Oh, no. Yeah.
That one completely bodied me for like 2 months. I could not think in anything other than that voice.
What do you call this in English?
A hemomancer.
A vampire. And this?
It's sort of a fun one, though, because you get to be a bit creative with it. Somebody just says a noun, and you just thesaurus that shit, and you're like, okay, yeah, here's another name for that. And I get to say it in a funny voice. Like, that's a big win.
Exactly. It's like someone says, oh, wow, that was funny. Humorous.
It's like its own little puzzle game just built in. Another one that is similar to that feels like a bit of a puzzle game for me is jokes.
Oh, like, I hate jokes so much.
I really like them, but you need to be tasteful. You can't just find any old word that ends with and say blank I hardly know her. You gotta find the good ones.
Can you give me an example of an actually good one?
Nope.
That's fair.
I don't know if they don't just pop up like naturally in my brain. You got to hear one. And like, if some point in this podcast you say an word that I hear a good opportunity for, I will pounce on it.
So do you think you could combine the two? Like if you heard Hemomancer. No, here's one more that kind of shows not my actual age, but my internet age. Not too long ago, at work, went into a meeting room. Most of the marketing team is like in their 30s, and so I'm late 20s, so I'm kind of the young one. But we also had an intern, and one of the guys made like a Leroy Jenkins reference. And you participate when someone takes the gamble and goes for a like 14-year-old reference. You kind of have to support them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But our intern was looking like, what the hell are you guys talking about? And then come to find out, he was like 7 when that video was
Yeah.
uploaded. That one did not cross the generational bridge.
Yeah, I feel like the setting being in World of Warcraft really age gated that content.
Oh yes, yeah. Oh, another one on the topic of what numbers said strangely. Are either of you like Yu-Gi-Oh guys? No, right?
No.
I mean, I have read all of the Yu-Gi-Oh manga,
Oh,
but I've never
right.
played the game.
There's a video of a guy who's at a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, and his opponent deals a bunch of damage, and he's like, okay, so that deals 28, right? And the guy says 38. And he's like, 38? Oh, you play 2? And he leans back, he grabs towards his heart, and he makes the sound that they make when they take damage in the Yu-Gi-Oh anime. So he goes, 38? Ugh. Da-da-da-da-da-ding.
So, all right, so we go to 2,000. How much you boy at 28?
No, 38.
38? You played 2?
I'm copying them.
God. Ah! Ding, 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 ding.
And that's another one at the D&D table that whenever someone takes 38 points of damage, it's like da-da-da-da-da-ding.
How
That's-
often are you
yeah.
taking 38 points of damage, though?
Brother, we're Pathfinder. It's you're taking 70 points of damage in one hit.
Well, that's not 38.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe they were hit by a weak little goblin boy or something.
Mm, yeah. I think my favorite one that I've recognized, though, has been how I think you should leave has changed the way I talk. Like, if I
Yeah.
go into like a little story and I just sort of sense that it's like not really landing too much, you just start making it into an I think you should leave joke. You're just like, yeah, so like I rolled up my socks, and you're saying this thinking that it's going to be like super funny. You're like, yeah, I rolled up my socks and like helped make it so my ankles aren't as sweaty. And then everyone's like, oh, cool. You're just like, don't you just hate it when your ankles are sweaty and your socks wick up all the water and you got sweaty old ankles and you're walking around, and you just keep going. This is digging your heels in until people think it's funny. It was funny. You just need to teach them.
Yeah, I think you should leave as a master class in just repeating things until someone laughs.
And I feel like the series itself embodies that, because the first time everyone watches I Think You Should Leave, they're like, yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
And then you watch it a second time and you're like, this is the funniest thing that's
I-
ever been made.
I vaguely recall Aaron, you and I watching season 3 on Discord together and being
Mhm.
like, man, this season doesn't hit the way the previous ones did. And then like a couple of days after, we were like, man, I can't stop thinking about that driving crooner bit. That was so and the zipline one, and yeah.
Yeah, we went through and reviewed all of the bits, and we couldn't come up with any that weren't like at least B tier. There were
Yeah.
no misses.
Yep.
I think it appeals to the inner like toddler within everybody. The one that just their parents say a funny joke, or they say like a funny joke they don't quite understand and then just keep repeating it. Like, grown up, that's I Think You Should Leave.
Aaron, you get any
Mhm.
more?
The only other one I have that also has fallen out of favor recently, but it used to control all of us, was the video of the guy. He had like 8 one-liners in a row. Milo, get your era out of the pool.
Oh,
Minutes until 40 milligrams of this Adderall kick in. Let me tell you something. I'm feeling pretty intelligent right now. Ask me anything in the comments. I bet I can answer that whole lickety split here. Milo, get your every eye in the house, boy. Oh my God, there's a dead roach in the pool. Poor chap never learned how to swim, eh? Oh, it's wiggling. He's still alive.
I actually
And-
did just pull that one out this weekend. So
Yeah,
yeah.
there's that one. But the one I find myself from that the most is saying lickety split.
Yeah.
When I'm moving fast, I got that done lickety split.
Yep. To this day, because of that, if I ever am naming like a dog in a video game, I'll just name him Milo.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one is definitely like Internet Hall of Fame level for me.
Yeah.
Like that one is like one of the goats.
That is also a pretty niche one, right? Like that is not something that everyone at the function is gonna be familiar with.
The beauty of
Yeah.
it though is it's so quick and so effective. You like pull them off to the side at the function, you show them the video, and they just get it. They've been enlightened. Who needs like 15 years of schooling and like 300 repetitions of a joke that they don't get when you can just show them that one time and they think it's the most funny thing they've ever seen?
Yeah, but do they think it's the most funny thing they've ever seen?
I genuinely have pulled aside people at the function to do just that, and they pick it up lickety split here.
Lickety split. Fair enough. Yeah. So, on the topic of legendary videos or just legendary posts in general, any specific post that will just always stick with you, always have a place in the back of your mind? Doesn't have to be like a memorable quote, but just something you pull up every now and then. Jonas, how about you?
I'm thinking, and like I just really wish that I had some that were like helpful. Like I have funny ones that I like think about, but there's never like a video that's like, oh, here's how you like change a car tire. Like here's how you like
Or something
be
inspiring.
happy. Yeah, like something inspired. There's nothing like that. It's all
I
just
actually do have one
Yeah?
for
Oh,
that
okay.
exact. It was a very helpful post, and it was just a picture of Sonic the Hedgehog when he's got all the Chaos Emeralds, and he's golden, glowing.
yeah.
And it just says, "Don't trust yourself after 9 p.m." or something like, "Don't make decisions about your life after 9 p.m."
Okay, yeah.
And every time it's like, after 9 p.m., you're sitting there, the day's done, and you're like, man, I should like go back to school. I should go try to become like a doctor. Maybe I could be a lawyer. Maybe I could. No, just don't trust it. That's not real. That's not you. You're not going to feel that way in the morning.
Accept your fate as a non-doctor and a non-lawyer.
Exactly.
Do not try to learn something new.
The clock strikes 9 and like the aspirational part of your brain lights up.
Well, it is an hour and a half away from 9 p.m. for me, so we got to wrap this stuff up quick.
I think the curious thing about that too, not to be like too neurochemical or whatever, but testosterone peaks in the morning, which is when you're supposed to be like the most risky or whatever. Like you take the most risks, and then as it goes down throughout the day, you start getting less risk tolerant, I guess. So I find it funny that like 9 p.m. you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna flip the script, man. I'm gonna change everything all around.
So I heard, and I did not fact check this, so I could have just been lied to. It's the internet.
Yeah.
But I heard that around 9 p.m., if you maintain a normal day-night sleep schedule, is when your body starts to transition to this, like your circadian rhythm to get ready for sleep. So it's like you literally get like dreamier, even though you're awake. So your brain pulls away those, the reality of the situation. And you're like, I think I could do med school. Like, I think I might be able to do it.
It's fucked up because my brain only gives me the inspiring stuff around 9 p.m. or like after 9 p.m. It's like, oh, starting tomorrow, we're going to start getting healthy again. We're going to make the right decisions. And I'm like, well, it's after 9 p.m. I'm not listening. Tomorrow we're being unhealthy again. Sonic told me not to do this.
No, see, it's because you got to be telling yourself that in the AM. It's easy to say I'm going to be healthy tomorrow because then you never have to say I'm going to be healthy today.
Okay, fair.
Anyway, anyone else got some legendary posts?
Yes. Well, one immediately comes to mind. It is. I know it's also one of your favorites. It is the Babadook tweet.
Yeah.
Jonas, are you familiar
Oh, I
with
got no idea
the
what you're talking
Babadook
about, Damesco.
tweet? So it is a picture. Let me set the scene for you. I don't want to just link you the tweet and immediately have you giggling. It is a pretty poorly shot picture of a person. It's a Halloween party. There's a person on the right side of the frame. There's a person kind of in front of the frame sitting on a couch, and they're all dressed normally. And then in the center of the frame is a person in full clad Babadook makeup, wearing a top hat and a black coat, just staring at the camera with the little like red reflected eyes. And the caption is Throwback Thursday to Halloween when I dressed as the Babadook, but my friend's house had more of a grown-ups drinking wine vibe.
Okay, now can you link the post?
Yes,
I
now
am
I can link the
curious.
post to you.
This one's an all-timer.
Okay. I think that it's sort of amusing though that like all of us have these like somewhat like Aaron, even your Sonic the Hedgehog thing, like that's just
Right.
funny. But I think
Yeah.
that says a lot about like how we consume the internet though too, where it's like, yeah, we're not going on for like none of this sad stuff. We're going on to get a little giggle, you know, to have a chortle.
Mhm.
That's what sticks with you about the internet,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah. And then the follow-up to that tweet maybe even surpasses the original Babadook tweet. And it is someone recreating it, saying, when you thought it was going to be a chilling and drinking wine party, but there's more of a Babadook vibe. And it's one person dressed normal with multiple Babadooks around them.
I am not exaggerating when I say that these two tweets can cheer me up from literally anything.
And the best part of either of them is that it's like a double header because you know you're going to go look at the other one afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's also just, for some reason, I don't think it would work if they were dressed as like Freddy Krueger. You know, it specifically
Yeah.
has to be the stupid ass top hat from the Babadook.
Okay, so this, boys, bear with me.
Okay.
What is the Babadook?
It is a creature from a horror movie. I believe the plot from the movie, I haven't actually seen the Babadook, is that it's a single mom and a young child, which is, you know, the premise of almost every single horror movie out there.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid like sees the Babadook after reading a story about him. And then the Babadook comes to life, tries to kill them both, and at some point, I think they need to stop believing in the Babadook, or they need to start believing in the Babadook to get him to disappear.
One of the two.
One of the two.
Okay. I thought that this was like some like massive cultural thing that everybody had watched or listened to, but I was just too busy like picking up rocks off the ground or something.
I don't think there's ever been any sequel to the Babadook, nor was it like a horror staple. It's just kind of like a 7 out of 10 horror movie, as far as I know.
That's why choosing that as your costume and showing up to a party that is not a costume party is so funny.
Yeah. Like, imagine you go in like Jason attire, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In that situation, you can take off the mask and you're just kind of dressed like, you know, some weirdo with a bit of a ragged jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now you're stuck in this black cloak with makeup.
Have you guys ever gone to a Halloween party and had this experience?
No, never.
No.
I have an unfortunate story then.
Oh no.
There was a while where I was a big Funky Kong stan, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it ended up being one of the more, it's just a bunch of adults drinking some wine. Maybe you have like a little hat that has like a Sims character, like plumb bob above it. Like that's sort of fun, you know? It's like a little bit of a costume, but you're more or less just yourself. I show up in a full gorilla onesie with jorts over it, a white tank top, a bandana, and sunglasses to this thing. And people are terrified. They're like, who the fuck is this guy? I knock on the door and they don't know who I am. So I'm like struggling. I'm like, guys, it's me, Jonas. I'm like speaking through like 4 inches of rubber monkey mask. and like I'm struggling to get all of my headgear off because I have so much like shit just tied onto me, and my shirt's like keeping the head onto me. So I'm like really just looking like I'm trying to decapitate myself. As I'm like, guys, don't worry, like fear not, it's just me, Jonas. It's not actually
Biblically accurate Funky Kong. Now I imagine this being the function where you pull people aside to show them the lickety split TikTok.
I just have the head off. I'm still dressed in like the very warm gorilla bodysuit. Like
You're just hanging out with the Babadook guy in the corner.
And after that, I just went, you know what? I'm not doing this again. So I actually gave the monkey suit away.
No.
Yeah, and the person that I gave it to, he was like, "Oh, I've been looking for a gorilla onesie recently." And I'm like, "You have?" And he's like, "Yeah, I've been searching for one." I'm like, "You can have mine." And he's like, "Cool." There's just a little awkward silence, and I was sort of like, what are you gonna do with it? Because this was after Halloween. This was like November 15th. Like, it was still fresh in my mind that this costume was just a massive failure. But I was like, what are you gonna do with this gorilla onesie? Apparently he wanted to. I don't know if he did this or not, because it was just like a ships in the night. I never really saw the guy again. He took this gorilla suit, would put it on, and then hide up in trees in parks. That was what he wanted it for.
What?
This is what dudes did before they invented streaming services. Like,
get a monkey suit and hide up in the tree. Yeah,
exactly. Nowadays, it's like, what are you talking about? But then back in the day, dudes were just always coming up with nonsense like that.
And now, guys, a word from our sponsor.
This episode of the Normally Online podcast is sponsored by your mom. She reached out to us and said that she's worried about you. You haven't called recently, and she's kind of feeling down about it. So give her a call. Let her know how you're doing, the good and the bad. She just wants you to know that she cares and is there to support you through all the hard times. Once again, thank you to your mom for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. Now let's get back into it.
And we are back. Now, would you guys eat bear meat?
I'm down for anything once. Let me, within reason, you know, if it's not going to poison me, I'm down to try it.
Yeah.
I think like it's sort of, you gotta be a little bit careful with some of these mammals. You know, they got like prion diseases and stuff nowadays. Like, you can't trust any of that shit. Like, I'd want to like double check and see if bear meat's fine to eat first. I'd whip out my little phone and do a fact check on that.
Well, Jonas, you are more prepared than today's family that we're going to be talking about. Because last episode, you guys brought the heat with 2 subreddits, and I want to talk about one of my favorite subreddits. It is not a niche one. It's called r/nottheonion. I'm sure you're at least partially familiar with the concept.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously the Onion, satirical news site, r/nottheonion is about sharing articles that sound like they could come from the Onion, but are actually real. This one titled, "Family Stricken with Rare Brainworms After Eating Undercooked Bear."
Nice.
Written by Beth Mole from a couple of days ago. Let me give you a short excerpt from the article here. In the summer of 2022, a family gathered in South Dakota for a reunion that included a special meal, kebabs made with the meat of a black bear that one of the family members had, quote-unquote, harvested from northern Saskatchewan, Canada. Lacking a meat thermometer,
Oh, no.
The family assessed the doneness of the dark-colored meats by eye. At first, they accidentally served it rare, which a few family members noticed before a decision was made to recook it. So I want to pause real quick, and this is where the universe literally sent them a sign, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your crazy-ass uncle is cooking up some bear steaks and serving them to everyone on little, paper plates or whatever. And one person goes, "Hold on, that looks a little rare to me." And you put it back on the grill, and then this happens. The rest of the reunion was unremarkable. Family members departed to their homes, yada yada. Then family members began falling ill. One, a 29-year-old male in Minnesota, sought care for a mysterious illness marked by fever, severe muscle pains, swelling around his eyes, high levels of infection fighting white blood cells, and other laboratory anomalies. The man sought care 4 times and was hospitalized twice in a 17-day span in July. It wasn't until his second hospitalization that doctors learned about the bear meat. So he's visited the doctor at least 4 times. And only on the 4th time did he mention the bear meat.
It just seemed like something so unremarkable that he's just like, yeah, like a lot of crazy shit's happened recently.
But he didn't think to mention
mind,
the bear burgers. And so it turns out that they were brainworms, basically. Not too dissimilar to Baldur's Gate brainworms, except I don't think they got any psychic powers. But these worms, they'll get into your body, lay eggs, and then the next generation will get even deeper into your system. So yeah, I'm glad that we're all on the same page. I would also probably try bear meat once, but I cannot assume that it's going to be good, right? It's got to be like chewy, gamey.
I mean, bears got a lot of, it's like all fat and muscle, which typically like I mean, eating the fat is fine, but if there's like a lot of fat, it's not tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like too, like the meat thermometer wouldn't have really fixed too much, honestly, because like if they don't know what done bear meat looks like, I'm assuming they're not experts.
Yes.
And there's no like bear meat temperature on your thermometer. You like pull it out and it's like chicken, beef, maybe lamb. There's no bear. Like, what do you cook that to?
So I have the answer for you, actually. In the article, it says 165 degrees Fahrenheit or 74 degrees Celsius is what you should.
They didn't even get it up to what you cook chicken to.
That was my thinking too.
With the meat of a wild animal, I'm getting that thing to 200. It's going to be a hockey puck of bear meat. I'm not risking that. Are you insane?
I will say, after hearing that story, I'm more open to bear meat, and I think that this is just because, like you're saying, Damesco, Baldur's Gate has poisoned me a little bit. Like, brainworms are no longer something I go, ugh. Brainworms are like, ooh, like, give me some of that.
Yeah,
it's sort of like you run for president one day.
Exactly, you could body Trump with the brainworm.
I think like another game that's done irreparable damage to my psyche has been Minecraft. And it's not just Minecraft, but a lot of games, if you jump into water, you don't take fall damage.
Right.
That's very not correct in real life.
Yeah.
So I was in Hawaii a while ago, and my friends were like, let's go cliff jumping. And I'm not too big of a fan of heights, so I was like a little bit nervous about it. And then we got there, and I was like, oh shit. And like the idea crossed my brain. I was like, oh, this is just like Minecraft. Like, I'm fine.
I gotta say, if you're out in real life and the thought, oh, this is just like Minecraft crosses your mind as reasoning for doing something, that might be a good time to stop.
Stop playing Minecraft.
You see, the brain wasn't getting the blood at that point. It was my feet running off the edge of the cliff. And like, here's the thing. It worked out fine. It worked out great. I still had both my legs. I jumped off. It was a pretty sick looking jump too, because I wasn't held back by the fear that the non-video gamers had from running off this ledge. Like, I really jumped it.
Was this after 9 p.m.?
This was not after 9 p.m. This was like 1 p.m. on a Saturday.
So you had your full, brain.
Yeah, it's
full
just
capacity.
I've been infected by not the brainworms of bear meat, but the brainworms of Minecraft. They tell me any water is safe.
Your life is like a video game.
Yeah. But I think that is something that's sort of interesting. It's just like playing this video game. I just no longer fear jumping into water like at all. Get me up on those high dive diving boards and like I'll be fine. Like I'm just like, yeah, I'm immune. Like
I do not relate. I do dangerous things in video games so that I don't have to do them in real life.
Speaking of video games, and doing reckless things because of video games. Did you guys see that they've created a $500 League of Legends skin?
Yep. Yeah. It's
Why?
hot take, not worth it.
Ooh, piping hot take over here. Think about what you could do with $500. Think about how much black bear meat you could eat for that.
You probably
Yeah.
get a good amount of black bear meat without worms.
Get it professionally dewormed, and even if it fails, you could get like half a doctor appointment in the US for that.
Let's not get into that. So, Aaron, tell me more about this skin.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, League of Legends, game that's been going on for far too long, started in like 2010.
Yeah.
The greatest player of all time, the LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Wayne Gretzky, I don't know hockey that well.
Pele.
Pele. Lionel Messi of the game is a guy who goes by the username Faker. He's the undisputed best, and they decided to create a Hall of Fame to induct him into. And as a part of that, they're making him his own special Hall of Fame skins in-game. And for anyone who doesn't play the game, I need you to understand that these skins do not alter the gameplay. It's just playing dress up for your fictional superhero.
Aw.
I mean, I love it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
When you put it that way, it sounds so cute though, too. You're just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play some dress up, like.
But you are not paying to win with this $500 purchase.
And, not to reveal all of our character flaws, but we have all been prodigious League players in our days. Some of us still play every now and then, which I think we should officially apologize for. So consider this an official apology. And here's the thing. I have skins. I have skins that are too expensive. But I find the psychology behind it very interesting, because at what point are you no longer flexing with your expensive skin, but is it more embarrassing for you? And I think the $500 skin, if I had it, I would not even use it, because I wouldn't want people to know I spent that much money on a single outfit for my fox lady. You know what I mean?
I wonder like what the psychology is of that compared to like hype beasts spending $500 on a pair of shoes. Because
Right.
there's some people that are like, I don't want to wear these shoes because they might get dirty, or like I might get clowned on or something. I don't know. But like, is that the same demographic?
I think with the hype beasts, if you just walk down the street, 99% of people aren't going to know how expensive your shoes are. Whereas this League of Legends skin, everyone will by default know, because it was in the shop for everyone for the same price.
Fair.
And honestly, for the first time in my life, maybe I respect the League of Legends community, because people are banding together to make sure that if you encounter anyone using this skin, you just grief them. You just throw the game and make them feel sorry. Cyberbullying works. Stop spending $500 on skins, unless you're a millionaire. But even then.
Yeah. You have to make an example. It's like sort of too late for the person who's using the skin at that point. But like, maybe somebody's like, oh yeah, is it worth it to like thinking about getting this skin? They're like, imagine how cool I'd look. And they go into the game and they're just like, oh shit, this guy's getting dunked on left, right, and center.
It's basically the French Revolution, but in digital format.
Yeah.
I think like maybe too, that's how some of the gacha aspects of games work. Because if you're getting the rare gacha skin, it can also cost like $400 or something like that.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah,
you
also
could
something Riot did, by the way.
Yeah. But you also have like plausible deniability. You can also be like, no, I got this on my first pull, guys.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh.
In League of Legends spin-off game, Teamfight Tactics, Jonas and I both have a quote-unquote $200 skin that we got for free. It's just, with the average drop rates, if you were to try to purchase it, it's $200. But, they just give you free drops every once in a while, and we both got lucky and hit one. So we can be like, no. This one...
Do you use it?
Oh, I use it because it's sick.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's
the most insane
like,
dress up on that game. Like,
right. Yeah.
It's drippy to the max.
Because I have that plausible deniability, I don't judge the other people with the legendary skins in that game.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, they might have just hit it like I did and just
So
got lucky.
here's my question to you. If you could not get it through like rerolls or random draws, and you just happen to get it through like a bug in the system, would you still use it? Because no one would believe you.
Right. I think I would, because it looks cool and I'm not going to overthink it that much.
You're a stronger man than I.
I probably would be embarrassed about it.
Yeah. I'm glad we're on the same page, Jonas.
I think especially like when your teammates might be mad at you for something like that too, or judging you. Like if it's like a solo game, it's like, yeah, go flex whatever you want. Like everyone's out to get you anyway. What's a dog on my tail? What's another rat stealing my cheese? It's nothing. But when you got teammates, like they might just be like, man, fuck you for spending that money. I'm going to grief you.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think it's nice that everyone has banded together for once. Not a single person is out there going, I don't know, guys. I think $500 is worth it. He is the GOAT. He is Michael Jordan.
I also heard that like he doesn't even spend money on skins really.
Yes.
Like he waits until things are on sale. Like he's the most thrifty
No, he
dripper ever.
literally, he's known for not using skins ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And also, I need you to know he already has 4 skins. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I knew it. I knew there was going to come a little laugh from Jonas there, because 4 skins.
I'm sorry.
He has 3+1 skins of himself in the game, and he uses none of them. That's how goated he is. And so it is a weird way to commemorate him, because he doesn't want it. He doesn't use it.
It also puts a damper on the whole Hall of Fame thing, because instead of talking about that, people are like, oh, this is a scam. You're just using his name to charge $500 for pixels.
Yeah. So with Faker, I haven't seen a whole lot of stuff about him, but I have seen like some of those videos that they put out before like Worlds or stuff like that. And they're like honestly a little bit inspiring. Like for a moment, I'm like, yo, I should just be playing League of Legends and I'll be the best. And then like, this is like a post 9 p.m. thought. That's definitely like one of those, you go to bed, you wake up the next morning, you're like, what the fuck was I thinking? But I'm curious if there's any like videos or like music or just like media that's consistently inspiring for you guys.
I think videos of like a neglected dog being found in the streets and then being nursed back to health by a loving family, that will always just briefly break the veil of internet cynicism that covers my soul. Like for a brief moment, I'm like, oh, I remember now that the world is good, and for the most part, people are good.
Yeah, that's cool and all, but for me, it's AMVs of anime characters fighting, and I watch that, and I'm like, time to lock in. Let's get this bread.
Time to go lift. Let's get this bread, boys.
And I know it's not just anime characters fighting; it's also them playing volleyball. For you,
of course.
Yo, that was supposed to be a secret. You can't bring that up, man.
Yeah, come on.
Oh, come on. You made me watch Haikyuu.
The movie comes out tomorrow, man.
The fact that he knows. Yeah, for me, I was like thinking of some things that would just like consistently inspire me. And like, there's a couple of ones that are sort of like that too. Like there's some characters in some random anime that I'm like, yeah, that guy's cool. I like him. He makes me want to do better stuff. A real life example though, not modern time, but like old time, was Plato. And like, not because he's like some great philosopher, not because he had like a lot of really cool thoughts that affected how our world is today, but honestly, just the fact that in his writing, he just took his homie that he believed was like wrongly executed and just wrote him as like the best character in his book. Like he's just like the ultimate homie. Like,
yeah, man, Socrates, he was hung as a horse.
Yeah, and like Socrates, his mentor, was just like put on trial and found guilty and then had to commit suicide in the court. And that just affected Plato so much that he was like, I can't let his image be tarnished like this, and got super depressed for a while, and then just like, I'm going to repair his image through my writing. which
He
I think is like
watched
so sick.
Kageyama hit a super speed set
Shut
on
up.
YouTube. And he was like, oh shit, I gotta lock in for my boy. He can't do it for himself anymore.
He's the king of the court. Socrates is the king of the court.
Exactly.
He's gonna carry the torch for him. But like, I just also want to be the type of guy who can hype up my homies that much. Like, I'm not gonna be out here writing books and stuff like that. But like, yeah, I'll pull up to the bar and be like as good of a wingman as I can. Like, you know?
Okay, I maybe have a slightly mean way of hyping up the homies. I like bringing up like slightly embarrassing things, but endearing embarrassing, you know?
Yeah.
So as an example, I want to say first year of college, we have this one friend who just always says the dumbest things. And not like, you know, problematic dumb, just dumb. I remember we were watching a field hockey game because we're Dutch, and he was like, "Oh yeah, maybe they can make a comeback in the third half." Like, what are you talking about, third half? And he was like, "Well, you have two halves, but those are split into halves as well. It's a game with quarters, by the way."
Okay.
And we tried to explain to him that those were quarters, and he said, "No, you have halves, and then you have that one split in half." So you got four halves. And it's just one of those things where his mind was an impenetrable fortress. We could not get the actual correct, you know, conclusion into his brain. But like telling a story like that, honestly, has worked in the past. Like dates will be like, "Oh, that's so cute," yada
Yeah.
yada.
I think that adds like a human aspect to people too, because like usually people are showing up as their best selves on dates, or they're like putting their best foot forward, and they like have this facade, you know,
Yeah,
that just breaks that facade right down. You're like, nah, he's a dumbass,
exactly.
but he's like a
Yeah,
real person, and they're like, oh, great,
yeah.
yeah,
Although maybe not great at math.
yeah. What you got to do though, you just got to red 21 him out of thinking that halves of halves aren't quarters. You just keep repeating it like it's a joke, and eventually he'll be like, oh. Yeah, a quarter is a half of a half. You can gaslight him into like learning fractions.
But also, from what I understand about Dutch, calling a quarter a half would totally be in line with how the language works.
No, that's insanity.
I'm just saying, you people love putting two words together to just make a new word rather than coming up with a unique individual
Rather than
word.
what? Sorry. That one was for Jonas.
I appreciated it.
Listen, all I'm saying is get back to me once you stop learning from an owl, okay?
Get back to me when they make a free way to learn without an owl, man.
We're putting the Dutch language on trial right now, Dame Sco.
I've been put on trial long
You've
enough,
been,
all right?
no. You've been found guilty of being a silly little goofy guy.
Listen, our future prime minister might be called Dick Slit, translated to English.
You're not helping your case right here, man. Who's going to be writing about you after you're sentenced to death for this?
It's going to be Aaron writing about me in broken Dutch, and I'll appreciate him for it. Great way to end the episode. Thank you all for listening to the Normally Online podcast. Be back before you know it. And peace. Don't eat bear meat.